5 years ago, I did a video on building an inexpensive CO2 system for my planted aquarium. It worked great, my plants thrived. I did have to remove the system from the tank every night and reinstall it again in the morning. And I had to mix the yeast and sugar formula every 2 weeks. As my work schedule increased though, the maintenance on this system took up far too much time. After about a year, I stopped using it and just grew plants that did not require CO2. A couple of weeks ago, I was at one of my aquarium clubs and they held a raffle. I won a CO2 tank and a regulator, as well as some CO2 tubing. All I needed was a diffuser and a check valve, and I could set up a CO2 system for my planted tanks. I'm going to walk you through the planning and the setup of this Semi DIY project. This is a 5-pound tank. It holds 5 pounds of CO2 gas. For home use, 5 and 10-pound tanks are the most practical. We're going to refill this tank with CO2 several times a year. A 35 to 50-pound tank would require a hand cart to move. The cost of a new 5-pound tank ranges from $40 to $90. You could find tanks as low as $20, but these are likely used. Keep in mind that most states regulate canisters that store gases, and they generally need to be recertified every 10 years or so. So buying a used one that needs recertification before you can fill it may end up costing you more than a new tank. Check with your local municipality for regulations regarding gas canisters in your area. The next thing we need to do is fill this tank up with CO2. Several types of businesses sell CO2. Restaurant supply, paintball, welding supply. There is a store fairly close to me that sells beer brewing equipment. This also includes CO2. In my area, filling up a 5-pound tank with CO2 will cost around $16. At the raffle, I won the Milwaukee MA957 CO2 regulator, which has all the bells and whistles I need. It has a list price of around $90. A quick check on Amazon shows many CO2 regulators with less features in the $25 to $40 price range. My Milwaukee has 2 gauges. One of these monitors the CO2 intake. Tells you when the tank is low. Very useful feature. The second gauge tells you the amount of CO2 flowing into your aquarium. This too is a nice feature, but isn't necessary if you have a bubble counter. This Milwaukee has a bubble counter. They are far more reliable than gauges, and I'll show you why a little later on in this video. The last component on your regulator is the solenoid. A solenoid is an electronic on-off switch. Plants only process CO2 when the lights are on, so pumping CO2 into your aquarium with the lights off will cause a CO2 buildup in the water. This will eventually kill your fish. By connecting the solenoid to the same timer as your lights, when your timer shuts off your lights, your CO2 system will stop delivering CO2 to your aquarium. And when your lights turn back on, your CO2 will resume. This ensures CO2 is only pumped into your aquarium when the lights are on. This is much easier than the manually turning your system on and off, which is one of the reasons I stopped using my other CO2 system. CO2 tubing is similar to airline tubing, but this tubing is made specifically for use with the CO2 system. Do not use regular airline tubing for your CO2 setup. The tubing costs a little more than regular airline tubing, but since most setups only require about 6 feet, the cost is minimal, and it's also green in color. A check valve prevents any backflow of water from your aquarium. Water could flow back through the tubing and into the regulator and onto your floor. It costs less than $1 and could prevent serious overflow issues. There are many different styles of diffusers. A diffuser breaks down the CO2 into microbubbles to be absorbed by the water. You can replicate that same action by attaching the CO2 tubing to the output side of your filter and run it through your power head. You can get all the parts you need to assemble your CO2 system, and you can control the cost by deciding which features work best for you and how to incorporate them into your system. Now let's put this whole thing together. Turn the valve on your tank to the off position. Turn the valve clockwise until you can't turn it anymore. It is now in the off position. Now we connect the regulator to the tank. We start by wrapping Teflon tape over the threads. You don't really need Teflon tape for this type of connection, but as my dad always said, can't hurt. Check that the O-ring is in place between the regulator and the tank. We slip the nut over the threaded portion of your tank and we tighten we use 2 wrenches to make sure it's tight and in place. After connecting the regulator to the tank, we need to fill up the bubble counter. We need to ensure that the needle valve is closed before unscrewing the cap. This is the needle valve, and we turn it clockwise until it's closed. Then we can unscrew the cap. And we fill the cylinder up about halfway to 2/3 of the way up with water and replace the cap. Next, turn the regulator adjustment counterclockwise until you feel no tension at all. This is very important. If you open the cylinder valve with the regulator knob turned in, you could damage the diaphragm or the gauge. Now, turn the needle valve counterclockwise all the way until it comes to a complete stop. Slowly open the cylinder valve until it's all the way open. It needs to be fully open in order to seal the cylinder valve packing. At this point, you should see a reading on the first gauge, but nothing on the second. You should not see any bubbles coming from the bubble counter. Plug the solenoid into a suitable grounded outlet. Open the needle valve all the way by turning it counterclockwise. Slowly turn the regulator adjustment knob until the right gauge reads 8 to 10 pounds. You should see bubbles coming from the bubble counter. And there we go. And now we unplug the solenoid and attach one end of the airline tubing to the compression nut at the top of the bubble counter, and the other end we'll be attaching to the diffuser. Now that we have the CO2 regulator and diffuser all hooked up, we plug the solenoid back in and turn it on. Using the regulator adjustment knob, adjust the bubble counter to the desired amount. Most people I talk with have theirs set to 1 to 2 bubbles a second. While making this adjustment, turn your knob 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn. Wait 30-45 seconds before taking another reading. Continue turning in small increments until you get the desired results. Use the needle valve for micro adjustments. Keeping the needle valve open keeps the back pressure to a minimum in your regulator's main chamber and in the solenoid. Use the regulator adjustment knob to make the adjustments. Use the needle valve only as a last resort. I call this a semi DIY project because you are not really building anything. Rather, you are assembling already manufactured components. It's an economical way to get a quality CO2 system, and you don't need any special skill sets to make this work. Use the best components you can afford, and with a little effort, you can have your system up and running. Thanks for watching. Okay.